Every day, in millions of homes, a small ritual repeats itself without anyone noticing. A dog lifts its head, watches a person cross a room, follows, not by accident. What if that following isn't simple affection? What if it's something closer to a message? After decades of research into canine cognition, scientists have started to suspect that dogs communicate trust and even something resembling love through a private vocabulary of gestures so subtle that most humans walk past them without realizing they've just been paid one of the highest compliments an animal can give. 10 of these signals stand out, and the strangest one doesn't happen when your dog is excited. It happens when your dog is doing absolutely nothing at all. We'll get there. But first, why would a dog bother complimenting a human at all? Roughly 15,000 to 40,000 years ago, a population of wolves began drifting toward human campfires. The boldest, calmest individuals tolerated proximity to people. Generation after generation, an animal began evolving to understand another species' inner state.
Ethologists studying calming signals, a term popularized by trainer Turid Rugas, describes slow blinking as part of a broader set of relaxation and appeasement behaviors dogs use to signal safety. A 2019 study in Scientific Reports found something similar in cats. Slow blinks from unfamiliar humans made cats more likely to approach and blink back, suggesting a trans-species signal of non-threat. Formal research on dogs specifically remains thinner, mostly observational rather than experimental. But the pattern trainers report is consistent. A dog that softens its eyes around you is telling you, in the oldest language mammals share, that it doesn't need to be on guard. Is it the same as a smile? We can't say that with certainty, but it may be the closest thing a dog has to one. There's a sound most owners mistake for boredom: a long exhale, a full-body collapse against your leg. Physiologically, a relaxed exhale is associated with parasympathetic activation, the nervous system's rest and digest mode taking over from stress hormones like cortisol. A dog's body doesn't fully let go unless it feels safe enough to. Veterinary behaviorists note that stressed dogs instead show shallow panting and an inability to settle. So when a dog exhales deeply beside you, researchers suggest it may reflect physiological trust, your presence lowering its threat monitoring enough for its body to switch off high alert. It isn't dramatic, but it might be one of the most honest compliments an animal is biologically capable of giving. A dog that leans its full weight against your leg isn't necessarily seeking cuddles the way a cat might.
Behaviorists interpret sustained leaning as a positioning behavior, placing itself in contact with a specific person, close to what ethologists call proximity-seeking attachment. In 2013, researcher Erika Fauerbacher and colleagues applied a modified version of the strange situation, originally designed to measure attachment security in human infants, to dogs and their owners. The results suggested many dogs treat their primary human as a secure base, a safe reference point the dog can retreat to and use to regulate its own stress. Leaning in this light may be a dog quietly declaring, "You are my secure base." If that idea is landing the way it's landing for me, this is exactly the kind of hidden layer we'll keep uncovering. If you want to keep exploring the private world inside the canine mind, consider staying with us as we go deeper. Here's where the framing changes entirely. Wolves, even wolves raised by humans from birth, do not reliably show this secure base behavior toward people. Work from the Family Dog Project in Hungary found that dogs consistently looked back at humans for guidance and comfort in ways wolves largely did not, even when equally socialized. This isn't a tame wolf's instinct. It's something dogs seem to have evolved specifically in relation to us. These compliments may not be accidents of domestication. They may be the entire point of it. Among wolves, sustained direct eye contact reads as confrontation. Yet dogs hold long, soft eye contact with their owners, voluntarily, without the tension of a threat display. A landmark 2015 study in Science, led by Miho Nagasawa at Azabu University, found that mutual gazing between dogs and owners raised oxytocin, the bonding hormone, in both species, forming a positive feedback loop. The same hormonal loop has been documented between human parents and infants.
A dog looking calmly into your eyes may be engaging a biochemical bonding system evolution built for parents and children. That is not a small thing to receive from another species. Back to where we started. Velcro dog following behavior is sometimes flagged as separation-related anxiety, and in its extreme form, paired with real distress, it can be exactly that, worth mentioning to a vet or behaviorist. But in its ordinary, low-stress form, researchers note it's consistent with proximity maintenance, a core feature of attachment across social mammals, including humans. A securely attached toddler does something remarkably similar, tracking a parent around a room without panic. So the opening mystery has an answer. A dog quietly staying within your orbit may simply be keeping its secure base in view, the same instinct that once helped wolf pups survive by never straying too far from the pack. A shoe, a toy, something caught in the yard. Object carrying and gifting behavior hasn't been studied nearly as much as gaze or attachment, and much of what's said about it is more anecdotal than data-driven. Some ethologists point to parallels with caching behaviors in wild canids, where resources move toward valued pack members rather than away. Whether this counts as intentional gifting or simply an invitation to play
But even in its most conservative reading, the behavior only makes sense directed at someone the dog wants a reaction from, which, either way, still means you. In most social mammals, exposing the back signals an absence of perceived threat. A dog that sleeps facing away from you, rather than toward the door, is making a continuous, unconscious bet. Nothing here requires my vigilance. Vigilance is expensive. Every mammal's nervous system defaults to alertness. Switching that off, even during sleep, requires genuine trust built over time. So far, every complement we've discussed has been visible, a gesture, a posture. But researchers have stumbled onto something stranger, a sign that dogs may be reading something in us that we don't even show on purpose. Can a dog tell when a human is genuinely trying versus faking effort? In studies on unwilling versus unable scenarios, an experimenter who fumbles a treat by accident versus one who withholds it deliberately, cognitive scientist Marie Nitzner and colleagues found dogs waited longer and stayed calmer toward humans who appeared to be trying but failing. Dogs, it seems, may distinguish genuine intention from indifference. If that's true, then every compliment we've covered may not be reflexive. It may be, at least partly, earned. Contagious yawning was long thought to require empathy-linked wiring found mainly in humans and primates. In 2008, researcher Ramiro Jolie Mascheroni found that dogs yawn significantly more after watching their owner yawn than after watching a stranger. Later studies have produced mixed results, and researchers still debate whether this reflects genuine empathic contagion or stress-related mimicry.
But the effect appearing strongest with the dog's own owner keeps pulling researchers back to one possibility: a dog's nervous system synchronizing, in some limited way, with yours. Watch a dog off-leash in a new place. It runs ahead, investigates something fascinating, then turns to look back at its person before continuing. This is social referencing, one of the better documented behaviors in the attachment literature. Dogs use an owner's location and expression as a reference point for interpreting ambiguous situations, much like toddlers glancing back at a parent before approaching something strange. That half-second glance is in effect your dog asking your opinion, treating your read on the world as more trustworthy than its own. And now, the one we promised at the start, the compliment that looks on the surface like nothing at all. A dog lying in the same room as you, not seeking attention, not performing, just present. It's the easiest signal to miss because there's nothing to notice. But recall everything we've covered: the expense of vigilance, the biology of the secure base, the rarity of an animal that orients its whole nervous system around another species. A dog that can simply rest near you, fully unguarded, not even needing to check in, may be demonstrating the deepest trust the other 9 behaviors we're building toward. Not affection performed, affection assumed, so secure it no longer needs to be shown. The loudest compliments a dog gives us are easy to catch. The quiet ones, the sigh, the exposed back, the untroubled stillness, are the ones we've been missing for thousands of years, hiding in plain sight in nearly every home on Earth.
We set out to answer a simple question. What is a dog really telling us beneath the wagging and the noise of everyday life together? What we found was a portrait of an animal that may have spent tens of thousands of years evolving to be legible to us, while we spent that same stretch only partially learning to read it back. Scientists remain divided on how much of this is conscious intention and how much is instinct shaped by selection. That uncertainty isn't a weakness in the research, it's honesty. And if I'm honest, that unresolved edge is what makes this field so hard to look away from. Because if a dog's stillness can be a compliment, if its exhale can be a form of trust, then the real mystery isn't what dogs are trying to tell us, it's how much of it we've been missing all along. And that gap between what dogs communicate and what we manage to understand is exactly where our next investigation begins.